Welcome to the Nick Long Show. I'm your host, Nick Long, where we talk about real estate investing, money, mindset, and lifestyle. And this is the second episode of the show. So let's jump in. Today we're talking about the top 5 reasons that I believe real estate is the best investment out there. First, real estate is the primary driver or force behind the majority of millionaire households in the United States. If you didn't know, which I assume most people don't know this, but there are about 12 million millionaire households in the United States. And in total, there are about 128 million households overall in the United States. So if you do the quick math, that's just a little bit over 9% of households in the United States of America are millionaire households. Now that is not a lot. And what's more is that $1 million anymore in 2021, when I'm recording this, is no longer a lot of money. So $1 million, if you retire at age 65 and you have less than $1 million, yeah, I don't know if you'll get to the end or not. You know, you may run out of money before you run out of days, and that's not a position that you want to be in. So, how do we counteract that? How do we grow our wealth? How do we make it so that we have more money at the end of our life, and that we don't have to depend on our sons or daughters or the government to take care of us. Since the beginning of time, wealth has been measured in land ownership, and land ownership has been made a very favorable place to be. And why is that? Well, because the people who make the laws of the land own a lot of real estate. It's done on purpose. It's secret. They do it on purpose. Like I said, there are 5 main drivers that make real estate hands down the best investment, and we're going to go through them. So number one is, if you buy it right, and we're going to be talking more about this in the future, if you buy real estate right, it's going to provide you cash flow. It's going to put money in your pocket every month, and that is the definition of an asset. It puts money into your pocket each and every month, where a liability does just the opposite. You have to take money out of your pocket each and every month. And we'll be talking more about assets and liabilities in a future episode. But so number one, it provides cash flow, and that's big. It doesn't matter. I know investors who they shoot for $100 a door. Their model is, if I can get $100 a door at the end of every month, then that's what I'm shooting for, and that's okay. I average far more than that per door, and I think a lot of investors who have been savvy with their investments in real estate often do the same. And there are a lot of ways you can scale that above $100 a door, and we'll talk about those. Number 2, it provides principal pay down. So you may not think about this, and it's not something that goes in your pocket every month, but if your mortgage is $100,000 and you pay your mortgage, and the next month your mortgage is $99,500, well, your balance sheet just grew by $500 because you paid $500 down in your principal. And over time, that number grows. And as you scale your real estate investment portfolio, well, guess what? You have property A paid down $500, property B paid down $500, property C paid down $500, property D paid down $500. Just 4 properties, and you're making $2,000 a month just in principal pay down. So, and when you stack those up and then you do it over the course of the year, you're making quite a bit of money just in principal pay down. Now it's kind of locked into the property, and there are ways that you can access that, but it's a very real number that goes towards the bottom of your balance sheet. Number 3 provides depreciation, and we'll talk about depreciation more in depth in another episode. But depreciation is something that can offset your earned income. Let's say you make $100,000 a year. Well, if you can claim $20,000, $30,000 in depreciation on your rental property, it may not be that much. Depends on how big your rental property is. And it depends on how much depreciation you take in the first couple of years. If you make 100 grand, you could use depreciation on your rental property. It's just saying that, oh, because my rental property got a little bit older, now it's not worth as much because the wood is older or the roof is older or the siding is older. And so you take that depreciation off on your taxes and it reduces your total earned income. So if you make $100,000, you might show on your taxes that, well, I really only made $90,000 because I've got some depreciation from my real estate. So that is another way that real estate puts money back in your pocket at the end of the day. Number 4, it provides a hedge against inflation. So inflation is a real thing, especially today, a very real thing. That's why I personally am trying to buy as many real assets as I can, because inflation is definitely, we're definitely not having deflation right now. We are definitely in an inflationary period. And what is that? What is inflation? It just means that everything costs more, basically. A loaf of bread costs more, a gallon of milk costs more, houses cost more. So what I want to do is I want to buy a house today, and I want to experience the benefit that inflation is going to have. It's a hedge against inflation. So I want to put my money in something that's going to go up in value along with the inflation as time goes on. Finally, number 5, the reason I think personally that real estate is the best investment that you can get into is control. You control the asset. Most other investments, you do not control the asset. You buy stock, you're not on the board. You don't control that company, that stock. They could make a decision tomorrow and you're out. I just heard a story the other day. One of my contractors, his father worked for GM for 35 years, had like $100,000 in the company, and the government bought out GM. And when the government did that, his $100,000 went down to $10,000. Did he have control over that investment? Unfortunately, no. And he lost out because of it. So control is a big one. You control how the property is managed. You control who goes into the property. You can control what the property looks like to a degree, right? Ideally, you fix them up nicer so that they gain in value. So those 5 things make, in my opinion, real estate the very best investment out there. So with that, this is the conclusion of the second episode of the Nick Long Show. I hope I provided you some value. If you enjoy listening, if you enjoy some of the things that I'm talking about, please subscribe. Please, throw a comment in the comment section, a nice comment, and feel free to reach out to me if you have questions or thoughts, and I'd love to have a conversation. So I hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you very soon.